paying over. Call it the Pampers Index, a rough measure that shows which EU citizens are paying over the odds. Arbitraging these differences away.
Arbitraging these differences away.
Are paying over the odds. Arbitraging these differences away.
It's not simple.
Borders matter in trade,
Borders matter in trade,
they still exist in the EU.
and they still exist in the EU.
Across a state border in America,
Across a state border in America,
and not much changes.
and not much changes for most businesses.
Cross a border in the EU,
Cross a border in the EU,
and they face a new legal regime in a foreign language. Cross a border in the EU, and they face a new legal regime
and
in offences. Cross a border in the EU, and they face a new legal regime
and they face a new legal regime
in a foreign language
in a foreign language
with a different consumer culture.
with a different consumer culture.
Nor is it an easy process for consumers.
Nor it is an easy process for consumers.
It is one thing to fire up Google Translate,
It is one thing to fire up Google Translate,
to read a news article,
to read a news article,
quite another to double check what
quite another to double check.
Zuakasagaya means. Translate to read a news article, quite another to double check what Zuakasagaya means.
Quite another to double check what Zuakasagaya means
In the middle of a €1,000 purchase.
in the middle of a €1,000 purchase.
America is far more integrated, sign EU officials.
America is far more integrated, sign EU officials.
As a result, big
As a result,
online retailers like Amazon offer shopper EU officials. As a result, big online retailers like
big online retailers
Amazon
such as Amazon
offer a shopper in Alabama.
offer shoppers in Alibaba.
As a result, big online retailers like Amazon offer a shopper in Alabama
Offer a shopper in Alabama
the same price as one in California.
the same price as one in California.
Delivery charges within the EU are often steep.
Delivery charges in the EU are often steep.
Any discriminating Spanish parent will soon find in the EU are often steep, as any discriminating Spanish parent will soon find.
As any discriminating Spanish parent will soon find.
Products from where they are cheap
Getting products from where they are cheap
to where they are expensive
to where they are expensive
is often painfully slow
is often painfully slow
or prohibitively costly,
or prohibitively costly,
particularly if they are bulky like nappies.
particularly if they are bulky like nappies.
It is worse in small countries.
It is worse in small countries.
Your correspondent once lugged the entire discography of the. It is worse in small countries. Your correspondent once lugged the
Your correspondent once logged the
entire discography of the Rolling Stones on
entire discography.
Your correspondent once lugged the entire discography of the Rolling Stones
The entire discography of the Rolling Stones
on vinyl from London to Brussels,
on vinyl from London to Brussels,
so that a friend from a Baltic state
could avoid a 100
could avoid a
€110 charge.
Nor is there much motivation for suppliers to fix the problem €10 charge. Nor is there much motivation for suppliers to fix the problem. Sellers are unenthusiastic about products from low prices to fix the problem. Sellers are unenthusiastic about products from low price markets
leaking into high price ones.
The EU has taken some action.
The EU has taken some action.
It is now illegal for websites
It is now illegal for websites
to block consumers from other countries
to block consumers from other countries
without good reason.
without good reason.
This came after EU officials picked a fight with Disney.
This came after EU officials picked a fight with Disney.
When it emerged good reason. This came after EU officials picked a fight with Disney when it emerged that Disneyland Paris
When it emerged that Disneyland Paris
stopped customers outside France
stopped customers outside France
from getting the cheapest deals. And the union has created a database of delivery company charges.
for delivery company charges,
hoping sellers will use it to
hoping sellers will use it
drive prices down.
to drive prices down.
Such interventions seem to be having an effect.
Such interventions seem to be having an effect.
In 2010,
In 2010,
barely 1 in 10 EU citizens took something having an effect. In 2010, barely 1 in 10 EU citizens
barely 1 in 10 EU citizens
bought something from a website
bought something from a website
in a different country.
in a different country.
In 2018,
In 28% did.
but the union could do more.
But the union could do more.
Indeed, rather than making it easier for lorries to
Indeed, rather than make
But the union could do more. Indeed, rather than making it easier for lorries to zip across borders,
Indeed, rather than making it easier for lorries to zip across borders,
the EU recently tightened its rules to
the EU recently tightened its rules
placate Western European countries across borders. The EU recently tightened its rules to placate Western European countries,
to placate Western European countries,
which complained that national labor rules
which complained the national labor rules
were being undercut.
were being undercut.
Eastern European countries
Eastern European countries
cried protectionism.
cried protectionism.
During a crisis,
During a crisis,
concerns about lopsided prices
concerns about lopsided prices
can seem petty.
can seem petty.
The EU is suffering the deepest recession in its history.
The EU is suffering the deepest recession in history.
The pandemic has revealed major flaws
The pandemic has revealed major flaws
in its structure and fixing its stream. The pandemic has revealed major flaws in its structure
in its structure,
and fixing them takes priority.
and fixing them takes priority.
But the EU has always been a mix of big things.
But the EU has always been a mix of big things.
But the EU has always been a mix of big things, continental peace,
Continental peace,
and small things, cheap flights.
and small things, cheap flights.
Lately, the Union's geopolitical ambitions
Lately, the EU's geopolitical ambitions
seem to take up more of its leaders' time
seem to take up more of its leaders' time
than the mundane business of cross-border seem to take up more of its leaders' time than the mundane business of cross-border trade.
than the mundane business of cross-border trade.
The single market should not become a forgotten child of European. The single market should not become a forgotten child
The EU
of Europe trade. The single market should not become a forgotten child
the single market should not become a forgotten child
of European integration.
of European integration.
Sometimes pricey pampers are
Some,
as important
sometimes pricey pampers are as important
as high politics.
as high politics.
Consumers have to do their bit too. As high politics. Consumers have to do their bit too.
Consumers have to do their bit too.
The EU is sometimes criticized for being
The EU is sometimes criticized
a top-down institution to do their bit too. The EU is sometimes criticized for being a top-down institution,
for being a top-down institution,
confusing voters with grand projects they
confusing voters with grand projects
do not necessarily want.
they do not necessarily want.
Change can come from other directions.
Change can come from other directions.
Each country has its own version of the booze cruise,
Each country has its own version of the booze cruise,
a British term for piling into France
a British term for piling into France
by cheap wine.
to buy cheap wine.
Luxembourgers had a British term for piling into France to buy cheap wine. Luxembourgers head to German supermarkets
Luxembourgers head to German supermarkets
for better prices.
for better prices.
Swedes nip over to Norway to stock up. Others head to German supermarkets for better prices. Swedes nip over to Norway
Swedes nip over to Norway
to stock up on cheap nappies.
to stock up on cheap nappies.
Doing so online is much easier.
Doing so online is much easier.
Yet most people
most people still do not bother.
Online arbitrage could become an unlikely engine
Online arbitrage could become an unlikely engine
of European integration.
But it would be up to citizens.
But it would be up to citizens.
As with nappies, some things must start at the bottom.
As with nappies, some things should start from the bottom.
As with nappies, some things must start at the bottom.
Must start at the bottom.